Last time, we built the ultimate AI machine, 6 layers, from the GPUs in the engine room to the chat box on top. But here's the catch. An AI with no data is like a Ferrari with an empty gas tank. Beautiful, expensive, and going absolutely nowhere. Watch the brain in the middle of our stack. It's powered down. Out of fuel. Today we build the one thing that brings it to life, the data pipeline. This is a system that takes the messy reality of your company, every PDF, email, and contract, and refines it into the high-grade fuel the engine actually runs on. By the end, you'll be able to trace a single document from a shared drive all the way into an AI's answer and name every stage it passes through. Let's build the refinery. Here's the core problem. For 30 years, data pipelines were built for structured data, neat rows and columns, the world of spreadsheets and SQL databases. Tidy, predictable, easy to move. But generative AI doesn't live there. It thrives on the messy, unstructured reality of human communication, PDFs, emails, Slack threads, scanned contracts, slide decks, voice notes. And here's the number that reframes everything. By most estimates, 80 to 90% of the data inside a company is this unstructured kind, the stuff traditional pipelines were never designed to handle. So to feed a modern AI, we can't reuse the old plumbing. We need a new kind of pipeline, one built specifically to take chaos in one end and produce machine-ready fuel out the other. Over the next 5 stages, we'll build exactly that. Step 1 is ingestion, the intake valves. Before you can refine anything, you have to get the raw material in. So we connect glowing pipes to every place your data already lives: Salesforce, Google Drive, Outlook, your internal databases, your support desk. A chaotic stream of documents gets pulled into one central pipeline. Now, the hard part here is not moving the data, it's doing it securely and without breaking the live systems it comes from. You're tapping production systems that real employees are using right now, so ingestion has to be gentle, permissioned, and reliable. And notice, the data arrives raw and messy, in a dozen different formats. That's completely fine at this stage. Cleaning it up is exactly what the next 4 stages are for. Right now, we just need it in the building. Stage 2 is the chopping block. Our raw documents flow into a glass chamber, and a laser grid does 2 jobs. First it cleans, vaporizing the junk, the formatting, the page headers and footers, the typos, all the noise that would confuse the model. Then comes the move that surprises people: chunking. You cannot feed a 500-page manual into an AI all at once. Every model has a token limit, a maximum amount it can read in one go, and even when it fits, stuffing in too much is expensive and the AI loses the thread, forgetting the start by the time it reaches the end. So we slice the clean text into small, self-contained chunks, each one a single digestible idea, maybe a paragraph or 2. Get this wrong and everything downstream suffers: chunk too big and retrieval is vague, chunk too small and you lose the context. This unglamorous slicing step is quietly one of the most important decisions in the whole pipeline. Stage 3 is the translator, and it's where the real magic happens. Our clean text chunks pass through a shimmering portal, and when they come out the other side, the words are gone, replaced by a string of numbers. Here's why. An AI doesn't actually read English underneath, it only understands math. So we use a special embedding model whose only job is translation. It takes a chunk of human language and turns it into a vector, a long list of numbers that captures the meaning of that text. And this is the crucial part: the numbers encode meaning. So 2 chunks that say similar things end up with similar numbers, sitting close together. This single step is so important that data engineers gave the whole modern pipeline a new name. The old world was ETL, extract, transform, load, built to feed humans doing analytics. The AI world is LTE, load, transform, and embed, and that final E, embedding, is the step that makes everything that follows possible. Stage 4. The numbers need a home, and that home is the vector database, the warehouse. Picture a massive, glowing, multidimensional grid. As each vector floats in, it doesn't get filed alphabetically or by date, it gets placed by meaning. And this is the part that feels almost magical. Blocks that mean similar things automatically cluster together. Upload a document about dogs, and it gets shelved right next to puppies and wolves, even though nobody told it those words are related, the math already knows. So a vector database isn't a library shelved by title, it's a library shelved by concept. And that's exactly the superpower we need. When a question comes in later, we don't have to read every document, we just go to the right neighborhood of meaning and grab the closest blocks. Pinecone, Weaviate, Postgres with pgvector, these are the names doing this at enterprise scale. The warehouse is stocked. Now let's put it to work. And now the pipeline goes live. Watch what happens when a real user asks a question. Their prompt flies in like a paper airplane, and the first thing the system does is turn that question into a vector too, using the very same embedding model. Now both the question and all your documents speak the same mathematical language. So the question flies into the warehouse and instantly, magnetically, attracts the handful of blocks closest to it in meaning, the top 3 or 4 most relevant pages out of millions. Those blocks get carried up and pumped straight into the AI's prompt, right alongside the original question. And that handoff right there, is RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, the pattern we met in episode 1. Back then it was a black box labeled, connect the brain to your data. Now you've seen the whole pipeline that makes it real. The fuel is finally flowing into the engine. But here's the thing nobody warns you about, pipelines break, and when they do, the AI doesn't go quiet. It stays confident, and that's what makes it dangerous. Picture this, your company updates a policy. The new 2026 version is sitting in the pipe, ready to go. But the old 2023 version never got flushed out of the vector database. It's still in there, and the system keeps happily serving it. The teams who run these systems in production call this an absolute landmine. And it's not hypothetical. There's a real case of an HR chatbot that kept quoting a 30-day vacation policy the company had already retired, confidently, to every employee who asked. Worse, an insurance company deployed a bot to check claims against contracts, but the contracts had no version control, so it read a 2-year-old version of a policy and started incorrectly denying valid claims. Real money, real customers. The lesson: embedding a document once is not enough. A real pipeline needs versioning, track every version, flush the stale ones, and guarantee the AI only ever sees the current truth. There's one more thing a real pipeline has to handle, and for an enterprise it's non-negotiable: security. Here's the trap: an AI system is completely blind to your company's permissions unless you explicitly wire them in. Left alone, it will happily retrieve anything it has indexed and hand it to whoever asks. So we install security gates right on the pipes. Watch, a regular employee asks a question, and a document labeled CEO's private financials tries to flow back, but the gate slams shut because they don't have clearance. Meanwhile, the team handbook flows through freely because they do. That's access control. The pipeline inherits your existing company permissions, So every user only ever retrieves the fuel they're actually allowed to see. And underneath it sits data lineage, a complete record of where every single chunk came from, who can touch it, and how it's been used. This used to be a nice to have. In the age of AI and regulation, it's becoming a legal requirement. Frost isn't a feature you add at the end, it's plumbed into every pipe. So there it is, the pipeline that fuels the entire machine. Zoom out and you can see the whole thing pumping. 5 stages that turn the chaos of your enterprise into clean, high-grade fuel. Ingest it from wherever it lives, clean and chunk it into bite-sized pieces, embed it into vectors that carry meaning, store it in the vector warehouse shelved by concept, and retrieve it the instant a question is asked. And the two things that separate a demo from a real system, keeping that data fresh so the AI never serves a stale answer, and securing it so people only see what they're cleared to see. That's why data engineers stopped saying ETL and started saying LTE, load, transform, embed. Look back at our stack. The brain that was dark and out of fuel at the start is now lit, running at full power. But that raises the obvious next question. We keep calling it the brain, but how does it actually think? How does a pile of numbers reason, write, and answer like a person? Next time, we crack open the black box and visualize the neural network itself. See you in episode 3.